Subtle skills, big results.
Welcome to the Ninja Selling Podcast.
Hey everyone, it's your good friend Eric Thompson. Welcome to the Ninja Selling Podcast. Thank you as always for listening and engaging. We appreciate it. Today is going to be a good one. Today is going to be a powerful, really incredible interview that I'm so looking forward to. I want everyone to meet the Ninja Extraordinaire, April Myers. Say hello, April.
Hi. Thank you for that introduction, Eric. Now I've got to pack some power behind my interview.
I have every belief that you will. We have no doubt, April, that this is going to be an awesome podcast. We appreciate you being here. You work with Shelly Culbertson. Shelly is your ninja coach. We appreciate that. And we appreciate all the takeaways that you are about to share. And you're going to share an amazing story that people will relate to because we all have hard stuff that comes along. And so I'll tell everyone right up front, what we're calling this podcast is how to be consistently magnetic, even when life throws you a curveball. Because April, you'll tell a story a little bit about life throwing you a curveball. But why don't we start with just some questions to get to know you a little bit better. Tell us where you are, the company you're with, a little bit about your family.
Absolutely. So you may have to remind me if I don't cover all those topics, but April Myers, realtor in Arlington, Virginia, which is the suburbs of Washington, D.C. So we're right outside across the bridge from Georgetown. I'm at Properties, Arla at Properties. So at Properties became our franchisor in, I believe, 2022. So we really enjoyed our partnership with them. So many amazing tools, and it's such a great brokerage. And so I'm with them in Northern Virginia. They have offices all throughout the DMV, but I'm very focused on just Virginia. That's where I do all of my business. And I have a husband, Colin, and my son, Gabe. He's 7. And I guess in our free time together as a family, we will go on hikes. We'll go to maybe a festival. We'll drive out to the countryside in Northern Virginia and enjoy, a nice afternoon. We love the pool. We've met a lot of really great friends through Gabe's school. That's me in a nutshell.
Great, April. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's fantastic. Yeah, people should know that we're recording this during the government shutdown. And coincidentally, it worked out that way.
We did not plan that.
Your market has had some challenges this year, and we will talk about that and again, how to be consistently magnetic, even when things like that happen. Before we get into your production, how you responded to those kind of things, we thought it'd be fun to share, April, a little bit about your real estate background. And you had a really interesting role in real estate for, I think, 7 years, if I have that right. I won't spoil it. Tell us what that was and what you did, and then we'll get into how that translates to what you're doing now.
So I'm not going to spend too much time talking about this phase of my life, but I actually went to college for real estate. I got my minor in real estate from the University of Northern Iowa. UNI, go Panthers, proud alumni. They have a real estate division there. So I decided to get my degree and do real estate right after college. And so we'll fast forward to 2016. I was hired by a local brokerage here in the DMV to be their recruiting manager, and went up the ranks of doing recruiting and was the vice president of strategic growth actually for my current brokerage. So not only did I spend years trying to sell agents on the brokerage and our mission, now I'm like living it. It's given me a really great platform to become somewhat fearless in now being back in real estate sales.
Yeah, you told me that may have been the hardest thing you ever did.
Absolutely.
How many agents did you recruit to your company?
Well, between the two companies, between 175 and 200 agents. I obviously didn't do it alone. There's no I in team. I was, the entry point for a lot of agents' introduction to both brokerages. And then I worked with our management teams on both ends to really seal the deal and to help agents better their lives and join these two great companies.
Got it. So you today you're in flow with real estate clients, then you were in flow with a lot of realtors. So it made you fearless. You have no problem being in flow today, given how much you were in flow before. You also told me that a big benefit of that and the fact that you were in flow with so many people is now when you're working with them on transactions, you already know them, they already know you. So a lot of benefits came from that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. A ton of benefits. Not only did it make me not really scared to converse with everyday people that could be buying or selling a home, which is pretty much anybody you come across in your everyday life. I became friends with a lot of these agents. If I interviewed them and they never came to the brokerage, that was always fine with me. Everybody had to do their own thing. But what it did is it created really great relationships with a lot of the top agents, here in the DMV. And that has really boded very well for me with my clients and helping them get offers ratified in very competitive situations. They know I'm going to get the deal done, that I'm serious and steadfast, and that I have experience, and that I'm a professional. I didn't realize it while I was in it, but those steps led me to a point that now I know it really prepared me to be a much more competent realtor.
Yes, yes, I love that. So here you are today. You're having a really good year. So you told me you're on pace to be somewhere between in sales volume 16 million to 20 million in volume.
Hmm.
By the way, to share with everyone, her average price is 900,000. April's average price is about 900,000. And so your volume this year, April, you're projecting it to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 20% up over last year.
Hmm. Hmm.
Before we even talk about what happened to you early in the year, given what's going on in your market and what was going on in your market with the layoffs and everything happening with federal workers, that was tough. The DC market had a tough start to the year.
Right, absolutely. The suburbs are definitely in better shape than DC proper, depending on what you're looking for in the home type. But get on the roller coaster, put your seatbelt on because it just seems to not end this year. We just have to get used to the volatility, I think. And I have been saying that before the government shut down on October 1. So now we have this, and we have people that have decided to put their home search on pause because, as of October 24th, they're not going to be getting a paycheck. It's really interesting times. I'm holding a listing of mine because I have a feeling it could be two government employees that buy it. So we're waiting a week or two before putting it on the market because we're going to just see how the market fares in the next couple weeks. So anyway, yeah, it's been an interesting year. It's hopefully you're in for the amusement park that we're on right now or in.
So speaking of interesting year, and I say this with all seriousness, speaking of unexpected, tell us what happened with your husband.
Yeah. So in the late fall of 2024, so mid-November 2024, my husband has epilepsy. It's very controlled by anti-seizure medication. He actually hadn't had a seizure in over 10 years. And unfortunately, he had a seizure. Not to get into the nitty-gritty details, but I went to bed one night thinking everything was fine, and I woke up the next morning and everything wasn't. And so it was one of those moments where, you think you're short on time or you think you're short on certain things. And, you wake up in the morning and you get a slap in the face that tells you, well, actually, no, it's going to get a little tougher. So, unfortunately, because it wasn't considered a breakthrough seizure, he lost his driver's license for 6 months. So I became driving Miss Daisy. I've had to drive my son everywhere, groceries, errands, school pickup, school drop off, you name it, sports. In addition to, as realtors, we drive for a living. If we're not out showing houses, we're going to listings, we're previewing inventory, we are spending a lot of time in the car. So my days got quite shorter when this all happened. And then unfortunately, again in March of 2025, he had another seizure. So the clock started back over. He finally just got his license back September 10th, his driver's license, and he's safe to drive. But man, it really threw our family for a loop.
Almost a year with him not driving, and let's acknowledge we're so happy to hear that he's better. That's terrific. Now let's just bring all this together. Here you are this year, having a year that's 20% better than last year in a market that is not 20% better than last year. Your market is down more than its fair share of challenges, and your husband has a seizure at the end of 2024. You're dealing with that emotionally. You're dealing with the time of that into him. And now you're having to do all the driving of your young son. Any of us with children know what that's like. How did you do that? How did you stay on track, stay consistent, get those results, keep going? How did you do it?
Right. Well, I still look back on the last 10 months and wonder, I don't, or 11 almost months, and I'm like, whoa, I don't know how I did it. But when I re entered the sales world in December of 2022, which is going into January of 2023, I knew I needed to have a plan and I needed to have a system to set up and run my business like a business in order to grow. And I had read enough studies and I knew it well enough seeing other agents take off in years prior in management. And I knew it would take about 3 hardcore years of grinding, doing multiple open houses a month, doing things to grow a sphere. So I had names on my database to market to. And so because I had done a lot of that work earlier on, thanks to Ninja, I was in a weird way, somewhat prepared to handle at least the part of the business that needs to run while you're out running. I already had my business plan in place. And when Shelly and I met for my business planning for this year, we really took a hard look at what can we really focus on this year that's realistic and that works with April's schedule. And what are ways that I can maybe create silver linings out of this awful situation that I'm in that I can't really tell people about and that I'm scared to tell clients about because I don't want to lose clients because if they think I can't drive, am I going to miss out on a deal or like miss out on clients because, oh, she's too busy or she doesn't have time or she's going through a hard time. Like that is the last thing I wanted. I had to work my butt off for the last 2.5 years for that to happen. And so I became really bound and determined to say it will affect me, but I refuse to become a victim to my circumstances. So I just refused. Outside of, I don't know. I don't know outside of that. So it's a lot of really good time blocking. It's a lot of planning ahead. It's seeing realistically what can fit into my schedule. I mean, I've done not nearly the amount of open houses I probably should have done this year, but you know what? Like I can't do it all. So I feel like the universe has somewhat blessed me with some things that have, I don't want to say fallen into my lap, but maybe it's because of the seeds that I planted years ago or that I continue to plant consistently that have really led to some more business than I ever imagined.
More business than you ever imagined in a really tough year.
Right. We did not know the amount of layoffs that would happen when we did our business planning. We didn't know the amount of like a little bit of upheaval, and just getting used to changes, not saying what's wrong or right or what you agree with or what you don't. I mean, these are changes and that's a fact. And so it's not only adapting to that, but adapting to a different lifestyle in my own personal household.
Right, right. So we say, everyone knows this, we say 3 keys to success: mindset, skill set, action, in that order. And what's coming up for me, April, is that there you were having that player mindset, not a victim mindset. We know about responsibility. We have the ability to choose our response. We can't control what happens, but what we can control is our response to what happens. And there you were saying, you know what? I'm going to keep going. I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to make this work. I can do this. No way I'm going to let this be in the way. And this is a big deal. Your eyes were open to it, but you decided that you were still going to make it happen.
Absolutely. I started getting up a half hour to an hour earlier every day. I was already getting up early, but now I'm like, well, I have less time. And how do I create more time to do my affirmations, to do my mindset stuff? Because I know like I need to work on that because it keeps me grounded and it keeps me sane every day. It is really weird how, or odd, I don't know what the right word is. You're probably like, no, April, this is how it's supposed to be. But like after you do so much mental work for 2 years, how it prepares you to handle a tougher load when a tougher load comes your way.
Yes, absolutely. And you know what? You made the decision to really lean into it. Sometimes we see when people have hardship in their life, challenges, things that come along, they always do. Sometimes we see people at that moment go away from things like the morning routine, go away from the very thing that would build up their mindset. That's when they stop doing it, when they actually need it the most. And they stop doing it because they get distracted, they get pulled off track, their attention is having to go to this thing that's become an urgency in their life, which makes sense. But you had the mindset and you were aware enough to know that, oh no, I need this now more than ever, my morning routine and all the things that build up my mindset.
Mm-hmm. Right. And I think I wrote out for a while, I will not be a victim of my circumstances. Or maybe we didn't do that. Maybe we made it a positive, but I can't even remember. But, I made sure that that was not going to happen. And so I was like, I will be an anomaly. I will be. I was already going to be. So why let this stop me?
Right. You had the mindset. And then tactically, you really leaned into time blocking. You were already a time blocker, but that became a really important skill set in action for you.
And as best as possible, in our market, still, the houses that look good and that are priced right and in areas where a lot of people want to be are still flying off the market. I mean, this past weekend, I listed a house, 5 offers, 50,000 over asking. Like you would never know the government shut down, right? Obviously, like there's certain things I do to prepare for that listing that make it stand out against others. However, we have to be ready to get the phone call that, hey, I know April, we told you we were just going to go to open house. We're just browsing, but I got a call on a Sunday at 4 p.m. that said, I need to have this house, and offers were due the next day at 12. And there were 5 other offers on the table. So you do have to still put everything down at some point to make it work for your clients. These were great clients. It doesn't matter, any sort of client. And so leaving a little bit of space still for the unexpected is important, and knowing that it's going to feel crappy when you're going through that moment. But when you get a ratified contract on a $2.5 million house that Monday at 3 p.m. after the offers were due at 12, it's really worth it. Also planning ahead for it to be a little tougher. I knew that the market probably would improve and we wouldn't be seeing a ton of inventory in the neighborhoods that I work a lot in. That's stayed consistent through this year. But yet again, that's where my recruiting experience came into play and comes into play, because that offer was ratified with an agent I recruited years ago, and it worked out very well for my clients. So not only the time blocking, but leaving some space for knowing that your weekends are going to be a little sporadic, but making sure there's some safe space in there for your family and for setting aside. So I really don't take meetings on Fridays, Saturdays, or Sundays unless I absolutely have to, because I know I'm going to be out showing houses. I'm going to be either doing an open house or things with my family because there's sports on the weekends.
Right. Exactly. Got it. We all have those times where we feel like we're overwhelmed, like we feel like there's no time. And you were really shown that life was like, okay, I'll show you no time. And you still figure it out. So hopefully that's a lesson for everyone. You can make it happen. You can create the time. One thing, April, that helps you to be consistently magnetic is your flow. You have a very effective flow system, both your live flow and your auto flow. Let's talk a little bit about that, if that's okay. And so why don't we start with auto flow, things that you're sending out to your sphere. So tell us how many people are in your database, in your sphere, and then walk us through what they receive from you in the mail or by email.
So I have about 225 people total on my database, in my database, and I market to all of those people on a regular basis. I have certain tags set up. First of all, I use the app properties CRM called Platform. It's amazing. It makes up my life a lot easier every day. But I have about 240 people total. That's across the United States. I market to agents. I market to my family. I market to my sphere, my friends and family that live around the country. And then locally here in the DMV, I have about 150 people on my sphere. So they get at least 2 emails a month from me, typically a local newsletter about things happening in the area. I rarely put real estate things in it, but sometimes I do. And then they get at least 2 to 3 mailings from me, I would say every 5 weeks. So I do a quarterly newsletter that I write. My marketing team at Arla helps me get out. And then I do postcards and then any other mailings that I can spice in between and sprinkle in between.
Just to make sure we heard you right. So 2 emails a month, and both of those emails really don't talk about real estate, or is there one is real estate and one's not?
Yeah, so one is about like local events, like what's happening in the area. It's like a beginning of the month newsletter. And here's what you can do in the DMV for October. Or here's, ways you can prep your home for the fall and winter. And that comes from me. It's put together very easily. It's all done for me in our platform. And then another email goes out to my sphere through just my Gmail. And it's more of a market update or what I'm seeing in real estate. And I will say it's in my calendar to send that. But as far as the topic goes, I have to be fluid with it because things are consistently changing in this business. And I want to speak about and write about what's relevant. And I want to be concise. I want to be looked at as the local expert. Hey, if you have a real estate question or need, this is who you go to, is April. I want it to get forwarded. I want it to be seen. And so it comes directly like from my Gmail. And it's just something I write every month based on a topic that's relevant. And a lot of times I'll get those ideas either from the Ninja sales meeting or from our own sales meeting at our brokerage. We use the data that my brokers go over with us and use that as a tool to send out.
Okay. So we talked about that mixture between art and science.
Yes.
So you're doing that with these email newsletters. One is art, and then 2 weeks later is science. And then a similar approach to your postcards, or are all the postcards more real estate focused?
No, I'll do like maybe a late summer sales recap, or if I've got a great testimonial from clients from a transaction recently, I'll put that on a postcard and send it out. Or if there's some sort of specific holiday or something going on for the month, like right now it's, Halloween. So I sent something out about the Teal Pumpkin Project, which is the food allergy friendly program for kids with food allergies and how to manage that around Halloween. It's in my calendar what we're sending. And if I don't have anything or the time to figure out what to send, I lean in on my brokerage and they have pre-made, marketing pieces that I can do a couple clicks of the button and then it goes out and they customize it for me and it goes out. So it's super easy. It's super, super easy. So if, I'm running shorter on ideas or shorter on time, I do it. I have not skipped a beat since I started doing this in December of 2022. Like I said, going into 2023, I just started. And then the other piece that they will get is a quarterly newsletter from me that's written, that's designed. My media department helps me with that design, but we put on maybe a couple sales, what's happening in the fall market. Or this last one was what's happening so far this year with numbers, because there's so much mixed information in the media about real estate and what's happening with the market. So I did something about that. And then on the back side of that, I created a vendor's guide. And so that went on there, the link to the vendor guide. And then I have like a little space on the back of that for like either a title company or my insurance guy or a lender to do a little blurb. So that's the newsletter that goes out once a quarter. So that's the flow that I do. There's other things sprinkled in there. Like I think I do a home bot. My clients get a home bot if they own a home once a month. But that's more something, it's just added. That's like a bonus.
You made the comment a few minutes ago that you haven't missed a beat since near the end of 2022. Talk more about that, because I know consistency is a big deal to you. And so talk about consistency and talk about your method related to business planning on how you automate your consistency, how you become almost automatically consistent.
When I do my business plan for the year in November and December, we work with our coach on it, but also do it with Larry as a coaching client or with you, Eric, maybe as a coaching client. What I do is I take all of the things that I know I need to do, and then I put it into my calendar. And so the beginning of every month, I have real estate reviews blocked out every Monday from 1 to 2 p.m. in my calendar every week. But that first week of every month, I have it written down on there who's all getting a review from me based on who purchased last year or the year before. So I don't have to think about who to send or who to do the review for. And it's a good reminder for me who to send it to. Because it's on my calendar and I live and breathe by my Google Calendar, I know that it needs to get done and that it's something that is going to hang over me if I don't. Oh, something else I didn't go over in flow. I do all the birthday cards, the anniversary cards, and all of that. I also take a client to dinner at least once a month. So that's something I added to my business plan this year, is because I know I'm getting less time to meet new people. I'm going to spend time with the people that have given me referrals or that have really supported me and been there early on with me in the business. And I love doing that. It's kind of a treat because I get to eat too. And then we just talk about fun stuff and we're all friends. It's really, really nice. So taking more of a personal approach to things like this year.
Well, that the process you were talking about with your real estate reviews and putting that in your calendar and putting the names of the people in there for each month, really what you're doing is you're helping out your future self. You are offloading thinking that your future self would have to do. So your future self shows up to that month at some point in the future and says, "Oh, I don't have to think about who's getting real estate reviews. I've already decided." So when you can decide ahead of time, you do yourself such a favor. You remove that thinking. And then when you hit that time in your calendar, you just go, you just do it. There's no more thinking. You've done the thinking ahead of time. So decide ahead of time, think ahead of time. Your future self will thank you for it.
Right. And that's just one example. Like I do all of my auto flow and my flow, it's all in my calendar. And so my get on Zen list, which is the tool I use with my home buyers, like engage on Zen list is on my calendar because I know I will forget to do that every morning because that's important. Like knowing what my clients are looking at online, seeing what they're interested in also jogs my memory of being like, hey, I thought I saw that off market or I drove by this street and there was a sign. Oh, okay. I need to text X, Y, and Z and let them know I might know of something coming up that they like or matching it with our off market database. Everything is in the calendar. And I had no idea when I did that the beginning of this year, obviously, or like even the end of last year for this year, that I would be relying on that so much. And, I don't deviate from it. My email, like monthly e-campaign, that's in my calendar. Monthly sphere email, like from Gmail, that's in my calendar. Like I said, it hangs over my little shoulder like a bee, like saying, you need to do this, like, come on. So I know when I plan my week now with my Ninja planner, I know exactly what I need to do. And then what's sprinkled all in there is the fun, unexpected stuff that real estate brings. And that's what keeps this business exciting and fun.
Yes, always. That was great stuff. Great takeaways about auto flow. Talk about your live flow, how you make that happen. You focused a lot on the phone. Tell us about that. And also tell us about your customer service calls that you do.
Sure, it's probably my favorite thing I do. I actually set the stage for the customer service calls at the first meeting or the second meeting, whatever. Whenever I know we're solidifying the relationship between me and the client, we're getting the paperwork signed, saying, actually, once a week we do a call, especially once you're under contract. And so, anyway, I set the stage there so they expect it. And I kind of relate it to like, well, you work on multi-million dollar contracts. So do I, and I'm working on yours. So how often do you have a call for your multi-million dollar contract at work? And they say all the time, too many. We're not going to have too many, but we're definitely going to have one a week. It's a touch base space. It doesn't mean you can't contact me or I can't contact you outside of there when pertinent things come up, but we're going to do this. And it really will allow us the space and the time to be able to review things that are pertinent to your transaction. And so we do that. I set the stage for that. And then I call on birthdays, I call on home anniversaries, I call on anniversaries. I use a form that kind of customized it, but that Ninja provides. Mine is called the VIP client questionnaire. And I also give that to them I give that to them at the first meeting. And I say, oh, we don't have any homework except for this fun piece. And I give it to them. I say, just, you know what, when you're done with it, just fill it out, take a picture of it for me, send it to me from your phone. I'll take care of the rest. And they fill in their birthday, their favorite food, all of that. So I already know everything about them. And then I put that information into my CRM. And then that creates, yet again, flows through my calendar and allows me to plan ahead on like what I need to do for my week each week.
If people are wondering, we at Ninja, we call that the fun facts. So just in case you're going back through your installation manual or whatever, you're looking for that document, it's called the fun facts. April, you're having 50 live interviews a week. Is that right?
Yes, and Shelly would love me to be better at recording all of them, but I said, trust me, I'm doing it. Like I know it. So we're working on that's going to be 2026 is the recordation really of all of the 50 live interviews. That's really the only thing that I haven't conquered, like recording. So if we're talking about 85% perfect house, 85% perfect realtor, that's my 15% of imperfectness.
We'll take it. We'll take it. Okay, April, this has been fantastic. So many incredible takeaways. Is there anything else you want to share with the Ninja Nation? This is your chance to share input, advice, words of wisdom, anything like that.
If you can do anything, be fearless. Nothing will scare you more than calling realtors every day that don't want to talk to you. And so I know that those moments prepared me to call people and talk to people that actually want to talk to me and that actually are excited to talk to me. I don't do a ton of cold calling, like following open houses, but it definitely made it easier to do that once I got back into the business after cold calling agents for a number of years. So it's kind of like going to the gym. It's hard at first, especially you're like, why do I keep coming here? I don't see any changes. But change doesn't happen overnight. And so once you start to see those results of efforts, it will encourage you to keep going. And so I guess be fearless, do the easier things first. If there's something that you're worried about or don't want to work on the things that you do want to work on, because that will make it easier to, at the end of the day, like when you do want to add something that might be more challenging for you, it will make it easier for you to do that because you've already conquered the things that you know you're good at or that you know you want to do. And just trust the silver linings, like something that I went into like survival mode, to be honest, when this happened. And luckily, my husband was okay. He didn't have any serious injuries. That's what I was really ultimately grateful for, is that we weren't having to figure out how to deal with a wheelchair in our 3-story townhouse or something, but trust the silver lining. So instead of being so hard on myself, that I knew I would have less time to do things, I was like, you know what? I'm going to use this time to strengthen the relationships with people at carpool pickup or at the soccer games or at the football games because I have to be there, or the birthday parties. What that's done, I cannot tell you the amazing things that have come out of me focusing more on that. People are just becoming more attracted to how I work, and it's less work to get the work to do. Just trust that if something hard does happen to you, just trust that maybe something better is beyond that corner. I wouldn't have started talking to a couple of very key clients, very, very good clients in my life now that I didn't even know I was coming across every day that are a client. So I've got like a big F on my poster board and my vision board, and that stands for find the Fs. Find the people that are hard to find. So I kept that in mind when I came into this challenging period. And it's really amazing, what can happen when you double down and focus on some things like that. So focus for F for people.
Yeah. What you just said is amazing. What you just shared is amazing. Everything you shared today is amazing. Be fearless. Always look for the silver lining. There is one. You just have to look for it. And gosh, April, we can't thank you enough. This was incredible. And thank you for being so open about your story, very personal story that you shared. And that's I know is going to touch a lot of people. Lots of people have hard things happen in their life. And so to hear your story and how you responded, I know is going to be really, really helpful to a lot of people. So April, thank you again. It's you guys, it's April Myers. You can find her in the DC area. She's with App Properties. And she would love, I'm sure, to receive a nice handwritten note from you. So look her up, send her a note, say thank you. Thank you again, April.
I do my notes. I do not miss a note.
Yeah. April, thank you again.
Thank you. Thanks, Eric. I really enjoyed it.
Good. I'm so glad. And thank you, everyone, for listening. We appreciate it. And as always, we look forward to seeing you on the next podcast. In the meantime, take care. Bye.
If you enjoyed this episode, visit us at theninjasellingpodcast.com to learn more about ninja selling classes and coaching to get you started or further your journey on the ninja path.
Thank you for joining us. Now go have an incredible day.